Hello and welcome to Don't Feed the Geeks, presented by the Long Island Comic Guys, the masters of the geeky verse.
Woo!
I am TC, joined by Toy Story and JJ tonight.
What
Hello,
up?
everyone.
We have a lot to talk about. Now, we're going to be making a run for it tonight, is the name of this episode. You might be wondering, are these geeks actually running around and doing exercise? No, that's not it. We don't want anyone to worry. We're not going to have heart attacks. We're not going to get exercise. We're talking about comic book runs.
We'll not be getting off our
together,
chairs.
you know, why we did it, you know, why we don't have friends outside of the comic book world, why we don't have any money. That's really the main reason. Before that, we have a lot of news on the geek beat that Toy Story is going to get into. Most of it's rumors. We're not going to lie. None of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so the last,
JJ, you here?
I'm here. Go for it. I want to hear more of this.
Don't say anything.
Not much concrete news since the whole Disney Plus stuff that we talked about last time, which was a lot. But since then, it's been kind of light. There's a lot of rumors, though, about like upcoming movies and stuff, mostly from Marvel. So the first one that's floating around is that a Wolverine versus Hulk movie is in early talks at Disney.
For those of you who don't know, who are new to the geek world, Wolverine versus Hulk is really the first appearance of Wolverine. I mean, if you're in the geek community, obviously you know Hulk 181. I think this is actually a brilliant idea by Disney to introduce him that way.
Wait, what's Hulk
really
181?
What's that?
What's Hulk 181?
Don't worry about it. If you come across it, just give it to me. I'll throw it out for you.
No, but what is that? Is that a good book to get?
No, it's very low value right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he serious?
If you have one, just let me know. Take it off your hands.
Well,
I'll give you like $5.
But that's the one that's supposedly like his first appearance, right? But isn't it 180 that's his first appearance?
180 is considered the cameo.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Yeah, no, 181 is worth a lot more, though.
No.
Yeah,
So he appears in 180, 181, and also 182 actually, but only for like a page of it.
Yeah. Over the last few years, that book has made tremendous headway in as far as pricing goes, and it's actually over the last year it's got a little bit of a lull. Not so much, just like a couple $100 per grade is down a little bit. So now might be a time to pick one up if you guys are interested, if this movie's actually happening.
I believe he's not with us tonight, but the DM is trying to put an Incredible Hulk run together. So good luck with that.
Oh man, that's real rough to do right now.
I guess before we dive into anything else, I probably should have told you this before, but I guess we'll just start with the news from Sony. Really, I feel like that kind of like is the only thing that's been concrete so far, even though it's not clear still.
That's true. You're right.
So I'm just going to steal here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sony chairman and CEO Tony Vinciquerra, I hope I pronounced that right, told Variety that the door is currently closed on Spider-Man returning to the MCU. I mean, there's a lot said. It was some type of conference he was at where he was speaking to Variety on this. He said there's no ill will between the two studios and that they're not ruling out future collaboration, but it seems like we're not going to be seeing I almost said Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU anytime soon, at least. And that's why I think this Hulk Wolverine news is like starting to kind of come out, because I think they're going to probably move that timetable up on when we're going to see those X-Men.
Yeah,
I think so personally.
Like I said last time, like they have contingency plan upon contingency plan for if stuff like this doesn't work out. You know, it's like they probably don't even lose a breath over if it doesn't happen because they already.
Oh yeah, I saw something the other day saying that they're expected to make like, was it you that sent it, $7 billion on Disney Plus by like 2023?
Jim, you sent that, I think.
Yeah, it was a lot more than that. Jeez, no, it was a lot more than that.
Wasn't it like 90 million subscribers or something?
Yeah, but it says $7 billion.
It was some
$7 billion.
Yeah, $7 billion by 2023. That's 3 years.
Yeah.
Just on Disney Plus.
Yeah. So I want to break into this with this whole Spider-Man thing because it bothered me because I thought about it when I read the article about how they're kind of that the door is closed. So they left this last movie wide open. Like, you know, we had everybody found out who he was. Like the ending of that last movie was crucial.
They're still going to continue it though.
Yeah, I don't think it was crucial.
Really, the only thing they can't do is have Jon Favreau's character in it. When you think about it, there's no one else that's MCU property in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, like that ending, it doesn't really have an, I don't want to say effect, I don't know what the right word is, but it doesn't directly lead into something MCU centered, is what I mean.
Right, and I think that's why Sony felt like they had kind of the control there, and just like, well, I mean,
they totally
what we
did.
have set up to continue doesn't necessarily need anybody from the MCU in it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you think about it from a business perspective, it's just like Sony would lose 50% of the money. At this point, they've already made that character popular. Little kids are still going to tell their parents, I want to go see the new Spider-Man movie if they're into the Spider-Man movie. They don't comprehend the fact that, like, well, it doesn't matter. Tony's that anyway. Why would he even be in the movie? It's just like all these characters kind of went their own way, and he can be his own character in his own movie. They just, I don't know how they're going to work it with, like, mentioning what he's done and what he, you know, his experiences with those people. That's the only thing that I think is going to be fuzzy.
I'm not really worried about quality or content because the Spider-Man, you know, universe is huge. So I don't think they're gonna have any issues there. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the reason Sony bought this in the first place is because it's the most content-heavy product aside from X-Men.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just Spider-Man's their best property. Other than Wolverine, I mean, you can argue with me if you want. I would say 12 years ago, how many people could say they knew who Iron Man was? I don't think a lot.
You're 100% right.
True.
Yeah. So,
but they could say who Wolverine was because of...
Yeah, they could say who Wolverine was. They could say who Spider-Man was. Those are names they heard of. Iron Man, they're like,
But that really shows, like, what an impact these movies make.
Oh, of course. You know? I mean, you can make... I mean, if you do it right, I mean, people know who Black Widow is. People know who Hawkeye is.
Like, when I was a kid, I knew of Spider-Man, you know, as the guy from the movie. Like, I don't even... Before I even knew what comic books were, I think.
I was so confused.
Yes.
I was like, wait, what movie? But then you're talking about...
The Tobey movies.
When I was 16.
Yeah, when I was 8 or whatever. No, but yeah.
I mean, it's... I think there's still a lot of, you know, lack of opacity here, if I was going to use a big word, on what's going on.
I'm sure there's stuff going on behind the scenes every day that we don't know about.
Yeah.
But I did see, I'm totally not prepared. I saw somebody at Sony or something said that they were very interested in trying to, or they thought that the idea of having the other two Spider-Men in the movies, in future movies, in some sort of way, would be really cool.
I wouldn't put it past them trying to do something along the lines of like the Spider-Verse thing.
Yeah, especially if they go into some sort of Spider-Verse or multiverse.
Like a live action one?
Yeah.
That'd
be interesting.
Tobey and Garfield.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Agreed.
Okay.
All right. Well, we've spent a lot of time talking about Spider-Man, so there's a few other items we're going to get to.
I want to correct you what you said though. So yeah, it was 7.4 billion in revenue and 82 million subscribers by 2024. Disney Plus.
Oh, by 2024. So 4 years.
Yep.
Yeah. Honestly, I see it happening easy. I don't even think that's a question.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially
you know what I'd like to know? I'd like to know how many people signed up already for that 3-year lock-in.
That is exactly what I'd love to know right now.
Yeah, that was very smart of them to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'd really like to know.
Interesting.
I know. I mean, they got 3 of us right here.
I wouldn't be surprised if they already made like 100 million.
Yeah,
I agree.
It's crazy. We'll see. Well, I'm sure we'll get numbers out. It's just like a couple months after that starts.
Yeah, I told my wife, so I know you guys don't watch football, but I was watching the game last night, and they had the trailer for the new Jack Ryan show, the Amazon show.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. I don't know if you guys saw season 1. Definitely worth watching. But like that starts November 1st. I was like, oh man, November's gonna be rough for us.
Yeah, well, at least Mandalorian's weekly.
Yeah, I know that's true.
I know. I'm kind of thankful for that now.
I actually just read that. Speaking of the Mandalorian, that Ron Howard's daughter, Dallas Bryce Howard, she's doing she's directing an episode of that.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome! Wow. I wonder who we're going to see come in and direct that stuff.
Hmm?
I wonder who we're going to see come in and direct those episodes because I doubt it's Jack.
Well, Favreau's definitely doing some, right?
I'm sure he's doing some, but I doubt he's doing all of them. I don't think it usually works like that in TV shows.
it's funny when I saw that it kind of clickbaited me a little bit because it's like, oh, what Dallas Bryce Harper learned from George Lucas on Willow. I was like, oh, you son of a gun. Now I have to know. And it was just like something about like collaboration and stuff like that. But
That's funny.
it was funny.
All right, we're moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Cool. To more rumors. Now, after probably how long has it been since Avengers? Like 5 months? Not even.
No, more than that.
It's been more than that.
When did that
It
come out?
came out like May, right?
Only 4 months.
Oh.
Yeah. After only 4 months.
I was gonna say last year.
After only 4 to 5 months, Mr. Robert Downey Jr. is already rumored to be reprising his role as Iron Man. Now, it's not rumored to be. It's not supposed to be live action. They're saying that it's going to be based off of that Ironheart series.
But they're saying the Ironheart, and this isn't confirmed either. That's going to be Ironheart, right?
This is what's rumored still.
Right.
Yeah,
but that's supposed to be live action.
I think so. Yeah. So it's supposed to be Ironheart. That girl's Riri Williams, who and Tony would kind of be back in an AI capacity like Jarvis, and would be training her like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I never got into her character personally. It didn't appeal to me, but I mean,
Did you read that book?
Did I read it? I was reading when she got introduced. I actually have her first appearance because I was reading. So the reason I have her first appearance is because they sucked me in because Mary Jane started working for Tony Stark at the time. And her first appearance actually has Tony Stark and Mary Jane standing on the cover. So no matter what, even if I was reading it or not, I would have got that book.
Right.
So it's interesting. She seems cool. She seems like a young Avenger type character. I don't know what her role is now. Unfortunately, if we had our expert on weird, what is it called? What do we call that episode with Jeff? Obscure characters. He's actually really into her character. He either was going to buy a cover or he bought it, but of Ironheart.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's crazy.
I know.
That's so much.
But,
yeah, but
I mean, it's good. I think the reason they would do that is to pull people in like us who might not necessarily want to watch it, but if they throw the name out there, maybe we will.
Yeah, I mean, I completely expect everybody to return in some capacity. I was expecting it mostly for that What If series because there's going to be a ton of Captain America and Iron Man are going to be in that. I think
again, those are just voices, though, right?
Yeah, but I can't see why they wouldn't just come and do voices. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure they'll do that.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see. All right, next rumor we have. So a couple weeks ago at that Disney Plus panel, they announced that Moon Knight is going to be coming to the streaming service. No date whatsoever yet, but one name being thrown around to be in talks is Shia LaBeouf for the main role.
I would actually like to see this.
I think he would be great.
I mean, for anyone who knows about Moon Knight, so Moon Knight is basically, his name is Mark Spector.
Yep.
Or one of his names at least. Now, I don't know a lot about him. I tried to get into his books and read it, but I was reading like the more current stuff from like 2013. He's like a schizophrenic, right?
Yeah.
He's got multiple personalities and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's
a lot of people call him Marvel's Batman.
Yeah, I don't get that. He's been described to me that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the books I've read, he wasn't even like fighting crime at any point. He's like fighting imaginary things in his mind. I was like, I understand the appeal. It's not for me. Maybe in the early days, it seemed like he was more like an assassin, like Batman type character. I think they've tried to evolve him away from that, and it's a little weird.
Yeah, I tried to read that last series, and I think I got 5 or 6 issues into it, and he
looks cool. He's a cool looking character.
Yeah. First appearance looks real nice.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Would you have an 8.5?
9.
I'd like.
Did you decide to get it regraded on your own?
Yeah, it was 8.5. I got it pressed up to 9.0. Yeah.
Whoever told you to do that is a smart guy.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, Alan's really smart.
Yeah.
I'd like to see.
So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with this. Again, it's just a name being thrown around, but honestly, I could see it. You know, I don't think I feel like people give him a lot of crap, but I think he's a really good actor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the problem is he goes method, and that's
exactly.
It's probably hard to deal with when you do stuff. I mean, I can't imagine whoever who's the head runner for this movie is going to have their hands full if they take him on. But
yeah,
I think he's probably matured a little bit too, so we'll see.
All right, cool. Well, that's about it for the rumors and stuff. One thing that I did see that was interesting is that the London Film and Comic Con, which is apparently a very big.
You skipped the rumor.
You did skip a rumor. The one above
I'm so
that.
sorry.
You should read before you talk.
I'm sorry. Jim, do you want to take this one? Because you let us know about this.
This was an older one that we apparently missed somehow. I hadn't seen this either.
Yeah, I realized when you said it last night when we was talking about it real quick. I went back and read the article, and the date was 3 months ago. So it's looking like maybe it's rumor wise that Wesley Snipes will be playing Dracula in Blade.
Well, wants to play Dracula at least, right?
Yeah, wants to play Dracula in the new Blade.
I think that's a great idea. It would be the right thing to do, and I think it would make a lot of people happy who were complaining that they should have just gone with Wesley Snipes again to at least have him be part of the movie.
How old is he?
He's probably 50 something.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's gonna look that up. I'll look it up. But can he play? Can he get paid for it? Because isn't he like tax evasion?
No, that's done.
Is that done?
Yeah, well, because he was in the Expendables.
But he still owes a bunch of money, though. I would think, right?
I think he settled.
Even more reason for him to do it.
He paid and settled. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think he has a lot of money. I think part of the reason he was in Expendables is because Sylvester Stallone was helping him out.
Mm.
Okay.
Like throwing him a bone almost.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, Sylvester Stallone is actually, from what I hear, a pretty good guy when it comes to stuff like that. He was born in 1962, so he's 57.
57. 57.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if you what is it? Get Carter. You ever see that movie?
No, I haven't.
No.
It's a remake. It was like early 2000s, but there was an interview like right before the first Expendables movie came out, and Mickey Rourke was saying that he's like, Sylvester Stallone is a great guy. I'd do anything for that guy. That guy like hired me to do like Get Carter at a time where I couldn't even afford to buy like a bowl of soup. Like that's the kind of guy he is. Like, oh, all right, so
that's crazy.
I'd like to see him in another movie.
He charges $1,000 for his autograph, but I guess that's because he has to pay for all his friends' bills too. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if this happens, that would be great. I love seeing like kind of throwbacks like this. Like I kind of get that he probably, I don't know if he couldn't have done the main role, but why that kind of wouldn't have made sense, especially because Marvel's probably looking to get a lot of years out of these new characters.
Yeah, exactly what I said. What were you gonna say, Jim?
I said I can always watch him because I loved him in Major League. So like,
oh yeah,
he's just such a great actor. I'd like to see him in another movie, an updated.
He
movie.
has such great like command of like comedy and like drama at the same time. Like he's really good at like towing that line. One of my favorite movies he's in, and it's hilarious. Matt, you ever seen 2-1 Fu? Thanks for everything. Where him, Patrick Swayze, and John Leguizamo dress up like they're drag queens.
They're drag queens.
It is hilarious, and Wesley Snipes is maybe one of the best in it. He's not the best because John Leguizamo stole the show in that movie.
Yes,
you have
agreed.
to watch that. Like that's a movie you have to watch. But I mean, Wesley Snipes is definitely the second most funniest person in that movie.
It's actually, I think you can catch it on Hulu. So
yeah,
okay,
definitely worth watching.
it is actually on one of the streaming services because I just saw it recently on one of the scrolling things.
One of the 7 streaming services that we're all gonna have.
Yeah.
We should talk about that one day.
Ugh.
All right. So last up, this is just something that I saw I thought was pretty interesting. So the London Film and Comic Con, which is a pretty big show in the UK, is going to be on the same weekend as San Diego Comic Con next year, and that just like that led me to kind of think, with all these shows going on, new shows are coming out every year. Like, I'm surprised we haven't seen a lot of overlap like this before.
I'm surprised.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. In this capacity, like you were saying, how like you think publishers will have to pick and choose. Like big publishers, they'll go to both. Like DC, Marvel, if they're gonna do them, they're gonna go to both. And
yeah, what about the middle?
Let's be honest. The one that's gonna be focused on is San Diego. San Diego is the show for Comic-Con. Like whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna do. I mean, creators, will they split time? Sure. Like the ones who can't get into San Diego might go to London. But you gotta realize, like people from London, like how many people are really taking the trek from London to California?
I feel like a lot of people, not London specifically, but I'm sure a ton of people from like Europe and everywhere come to San Diego.
I mean, yeah, but if they have a closer show, they might take advantage of that. I mean, if any, I don't think they're going to have it's going to be a competition. I don't think San Diego is going to be like, oh no,
that's what they were kind of portraying it as, whatever, from what I read. Not like a competition, but like a conflict. You know what I mean?
I mean, if I was San Diego, I wouldn't be concerned at all. If I was London, I would be like, yeah, this is probably a bad idea. But again, like maybe they're focusing on different things.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, like you said, there's people who travel, but like not all of Europe is going. It's still probably 90 to 10% America, foreign.
Yeah. I'm actually curious what those metrics would be. Like how many people?
It's something to research on your own time and bring into an.
I'll bring a full report.
We're going to have a complete metrics episode, and I think we're going to have lots of viewers.
No, I'm curious, like how many people at New York Comic Con actually live in New York, for example?
Well, that's a different story, though. Yeah. I mean, how many different states do we travel?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we go to Jersey, we go to Connecticut. We've been to Rhode Island. I mean, we went to Baltimore.
Interesting. I'm gonna do some research. I'll report back.
You do that.
I want every show in North America.
Even Clifton.
Yes.
All right.
Is that everything for the news for now? I'm sure there's stuff missing. I did hear Haley Atwell just recently is signed on for the next Mission Impossible movie. I love her. I support everything that she does.
Me too.
Stalker.
Agent Carter, for those
Stalker
who don't know her actress name.
She's the best.
Yeah. All right. So, do we want to get into our topic of the day? Absolutely. Our soup du jour. So, we are going to talk about making runs, collecting runs, comic book runs.
So I kind of realized that we haven't really talked about, gone into very heavy detail about our personal collections really yet on the show.
For good reason.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we could go to the, scratch the surface a little.
Yes. So I guess we'll start with the people who started doing this. Is me and you started runs, right?
Yeah. So when did you?
I mean, Bojo isn't here. Bojo has. I'll speak on his behalf because he did send a text message. He has from 1978 to pretty much current on every Batman book. I think he mentioned that in the Batman 1000 episode, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so I think that's incredibly impressive. But
he's been doing that a while.
Yeah, and there's so many.
I know.
So both me and Mr. Toy Story have also been collecting a run, not Batman, but I think we've both been doing Spider-Man.
Yeah. So when did you start?
So I think I've told my origin story before, but it's been so long ago, I'll briefly touch upon it, just like how I got into it. So it's funny, I think 1 year, the same year I happened to get engaged, mind you. This is back in early 2013. I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to get myself an iPad. I was like, I spend so much time on the train going back and forth, I'll start reading stuff. So I started reading books and stuff like that. I was like, all right, this is cool. And then for some reason, I was on some type of app and something popped up for a comic book. I was like, oh, that's cool. You can read comic books on here. So I started reading a few comic books. And then when I was reading the comic books, again, I went to some site because I think I was researching something because you know how I'm OCD and I don't like to miss anything. So I was like, all right, well, I need to know what happened here. So let me Google it. And as I was Googling it, something came on the bottom of the screen which said, find my comic book shop locator or something like that. I was like, well, let me type in my zip code.
Imagine if you never saw that.
It's crazy, right? I would have so a lot more money.
He would be rich.
What's that?
You would be rich.
Probably. So I put it in and I found myself at Best Comics on Jericho Turnpike. And I went in there and I wasn't sure what I wanted. I knew I wanted a couple of I wanted to read a couple different things. So I picked up all these different things. Tommy came over and the owner of Best Comics said, well, what are you looking for? I said, well, he's like, I want to read this, I want to read this, I want to read this. He goes, all right. He goes, I don't read as much of the current. He goes, one of my employees, Mr. Zach, also known as Bojo now. That's how I met Zach. He's like, let me have kind of like, take you around and show you what he thinks is good. He reads a lot of the stuff. He has, he's a pretty knowledgeable person and has a good opinion. So he took me around, and he did talk me out of a couple books, which I will give to his credit, because I could have probably just bought some stuff. He's like, don't read that, don't read this, definitely read this, definitely read this. I mean, I probably walked out, and like, mind you, I came in when the New 52 just started. So the New 52 started in 2011. This is 2013. So I was buying all the books to catch up on 2011 some issues. Yeah. So I bought a lot of books that day. And from there, like, I started hanging out with the guys, and I got interested. I heard, Zach talking about how he had a Batman run. I was like, that's cool. I'd like to do something like that. And I thought about it. I was like, ideally, I'd want to do it with Superman. But
not possible.
Superman just goes back way too far.
Well, unless you did something like Zach does with Batman, and
right. And I'm starting to come around to maybe like doing something like that at like Superman 100 on, or like maybe Superman 200 on, or something like that. But I was like, you know what? I was like, let me get Marvel. Marvel, they really started putting out all their books in the 60s. So I'm going to get Spider-Man, Avengers, and X-Men. I'm going to collect 4 runs of that.
Not for the faint of heart there.
Yeah. So that was another snowball effect. And mind you, at the same time, I was still buying all the current books. And I still buy a lot of current books, which I am kind of thinking about cutting back on. I'm mostly reading a lot of the current stuff digitally, which I'll get into later in the episode, or the reading and watching. But I guess if I had anything that I would do differently, knowing then, because one of the questions we had is like, well, what would you, now that we know more, because when I first got into it, I didn't know a lot. I didn't know about degrading. I could tell if the book was beat up.
Mm-hmm.
But, at the time, you don't know how rare it is, how old they are. I was like, these are still 50-year-old books. I was like, oh, maybe they're all in this condition. No, there's some that are in mint condition. So, a lot of the books I bought early on, like, not all of them were great condition. Some were. I did pick up a lot of books, because when I decided to do it, some characters just weren't big. And I was like, yeah, I could get like 780 quality for like pretty good prices. But I just wanted a collection. Like, I've always been like a collector. And then I was like, I like collecting stuff. I used to collect basketball cards. I liked having the whole set of stuff. I think, I don't know if Jeff coined this or a guy I worked with, but he coined me as a completist. And I was like, you're right. I am a completist. I get like a little like itchy and hives when I don't have like everything or know the whole thing.
I think that's pretty normal though for this hobby.
What's that?
I think that's pretty normal for this hobby.
Oh yeah, you're definitely, what do they call it? You're cut from the same cloth as a lot of the people in this in this group. So I think that was very ambitious, though. The 3 series. I have so many. Like I don't have a lot of the early ones for X-Men and Avengers, but I have a lot of, like, I think probably from like 150 on, I had a complete run of X-Men. From like
nice
one, maybe about the same thing, a full run of Avengers, till like, and I'm not just talking about volume 1, I'm talking to like volume 5.
That's impressive.
So in retrospect, I really would have preferred to have just focused on Spidey. I've actually started to let a lot of those, when we did the Suffolk County Comic Con,
you're selling those.
A lot of those Avengers and X-Men books go, because it's just like, I want to put it, towards other stuff, and my Spidey collection, which we'll get into a little bit, but I'm a little mad at you because you got about 98% of the ones I was missing at this point. So yeah, I think yeah. So funny, Matt.
No, but my collecting started like exactly around the same time as you, I think.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember if you went into Best Comics? Was it when Superior Spider-Man was out yet?
So I think the first day I had gone in there was, I think, a week ago. Like the 700 issue had just come out.
Because I went the day 700 came out to Best Comics, and that was my first comic, actually. Because I had heard it was like all over the news about what happened. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I want to go see that.
Yeah.
And then that kind of snowballed.
Were you in high school still?
Yeah, it was in my senior year of high school, and it was Best Comics was on the way home when I was driving, so I'd always pass by it, and I was like, "Oh, comics, interesting." But
Yeah.
so one day I just decided to stop in when that happened. Yeah, so then from there, I kind of did the same thing. I started just trying to get caught up with everything current. I didn't do a lot of the New 52 stuff. I did like Batman and Aquaman and those main series, but what I did, because a lot of the Marvel Now series were coming out, I backpedaled a lot on those and spent a lot of money trying to get, the last year's worth of books that I missed.
Right.
For those.
Well, I did the same thing. I just did it on both sides, which
I only did Marvel.
It was crazy. I mean, in retrospect, that Marvel stuff at the time actually I think was pretty good in comparison to the DC stuff. Aside from Batman, I didn't read much for Aquaman, but you guys have definitely said the New 52 Aquaman stuff was really good, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You should check it out. The first 2 volumes are very good.
The Flash stuff was actually pretty good too. Out of all the stuff what's that?
I remember that series. I think I read that series.
Yeah, the Flash and just the Batman standalone series. I didn't like Detective, or for a little while they were doing one called The Dark Knight. I didn't care for that one either. But those 2 were really good. But for the most part, I think at that time, which it's changed now, because I feel like DC's books are crushing it, and Marvel's kind of like they have a few that are good, but overall, their current stuff isn't the best right now. But I think it goes in weaves with that stuff.
Does.
But
yeah, I bought a lot of that stuff though. So I bought for about 5 months. I was just going into the store, and then when I finished high school, that's when Zach offered me the job there. Thank you, Zach. I spent a lot more money than I made. But then being around it all the time, I learned all this stuff. I'm learning this series. I think I was spending like $45 a week on new books. It was crazy.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Yeah. So my biggest regret, I guess, is that I spent all my money and time at that time on new books when I could have, spent it learning about older books that I would still have in my collection, and be worth more.
I mean, yeah, to a certain degree. But, I mean, new books all the time are coming up worth money, too, though. So, I mean, there's plenty of, like, older books. Like, just because it's old, too, you got to remember. Like, someone actually asked me a pretty good question, because outside of one of the places we get lunch from in the city, like, some guy had, like, a table with, like, comic books. I was like, ooh, and I looked for a second because we were waiting on the line outside. And they're like, is it anything good? It's like, you didn't even look at it. It's like, well, from the condition and, like, I could see what years they were from. I was like, there's probably nothing good in there. If there was, he pulled it out for sure. But, there's stuff from, like, the 70s, through, like, 80s, 90s that if it's not a major first appearance, it's probably worth $1.
Yeah.
And that, that's still a 30-year-old book worth $1. So,
yeah.
I mean, there's books now, like, I don't know if you guys saw about Batwing 19.
Yeah.
It's like the first Lucius Fox as Batwing, because he's being rumored to be becoming a Batman or a Batman.
These freaking rumors.
That book's trending towards like the $100 mark.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God.
You really never know. It's not to say that that's not a lot of money, but I mean, if you get it graded at 9.8, who knows, $200-$300, and what that book cost you, $3.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's.
I totally get what you're saying. I meant to mostly. That I'm like now years later, I know what I like to collect, and it's stuff from a certain era, And I just wish I kind of figured that out a little earlier.
Yeah, I hear you too. I'm having a problem like not buying current stuff because there's still stuff that I like. I would prefer to focus on the older stuff myself, but I'm doing a little bit better. But I'm not. I'm getting to the point where I just want to collect until Amazing Spider-Man 1000. On new stuff and then just stop with the new books.
That's a good goal.
But I mean, if I get all the other Spider-Man that I'm missing, then it's just I guess I'll have to start a Superman run.
I might help you. I might be able to help you out there.
Yeah, you're gonna help me.
Yeah. So with my Spider-Man run, the first Amazing Spider-Man book I bought was Amazing Spider-Man number 129. CGC 9.0. What?
I
was just waving at you.
Okay. Yeah.
So if people didn't realize we were actually doing this through Skype today, I'm not sure how this is going to work today, but we're doing this through Skype.
Yeah, we don't even know if it's recording. It's fine.
It could be fine. Yeah,
We got
who
two
knows?
people recording it, so one of them should work, hopefully.
We're 2 people recording, so we're sure none will work.
Anyway, so yeah, my first book was 129 graded, and I got it. That was I just wanted it at the time, and when I got that book, I started looking. Oh, what are the other ones? And I saw the run, and I saw the prices of the run, and I was like, this seems kind of doable. So I set a goal myself to get numbers 1 through 300. I wasn't going past that because I don't really care so much about the more modern stuff. But yeah, that's where it started.
I don't remember the first book that I bought because I bought so much at once. There's ones that stand out in my mind. I'll be honest, the biggest score, and I think we may have touched upon this in
we got to talk about our scores
at Undead Inc. So I'm gonna go full disclosure on what happened. So I had bought on the internet. So it was right before the Netflix Daredevil series was supposed to come out. Bojo was talking me up on Daredevil, and how that for his first appearance isn't really going for that much right now, and he thinks it's an affordable book. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I hadn't really bought that many pricey books yet, so I was like, let me look into it, see if I can nab one for a decent price. I actually bought one on eBay. I looked at it. I asked for more pictures. I looked at those, and I was like, I knew I was taking a risk, and I was like, it looks pretty good. So I offered the guy. The guy was asking $2,000 for it. I thought it was maybe a 6.0. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can get him down. Like I offered him like $1,750. I think I wound up paying $1,800. I can't hear your sound at all, Matt.
Sorry, I muted myself. Yep. You, sir, are ballsy. I would never buy a raw book that expensive on eBay.
The problem is that to get it otherwise, I think it was a gamble, but I feel like it was a worthwhile gamble because if something came wrong with it, I would have just sent it back.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy. It is easy enough on eBay, but
yeah, I did eBay. I didn't do like any side deals. I did it through business transaction.
I'm always worried about finding out about restoration months later after you get it created.
No, I mean that's why I had Alan take a look at it. I sent it in right away, and it came back 7.5.
Yeah, nice.
And I paid less than a 6.0 price for it. So I was like, needless to say, I was pretty happy.
That is a great score.
So, come to find out that our buddy Mike Caro happened upon a second copy of Amazing Spider-Man #1. Now, I already had a decent amount of Spider-Man at this point. I think the oldest one I might have had is the #3, the Doc. And I was like, well, I kind of need one. Is like, I don't know if I can like straight up pay you for it though. So he's like, would you be interested in trading me that Daredevil 1? I was like, absolutely. So we did it. So mind you, so he had an Amazing Spider-Man 1.40 that wasn't signed. I think that was a new copy he got. He liked the way it looked. He felt like it displayed.
I remember exactly what he said about it. I think he said it was a 6.0 except for a sticker on the back that knocked it down.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, well, it displayed better. I mean, it was probably a true 6.0. If anything, it should have had like the check mark or the star or whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't signed by Stan.
Mm.
So this one was signed by Stan. So we wound up making a deal. It was that book. It wasn't just straight that book. It was that book in cash, but it was for what he paid for it, which is part of the reason why I would never get rid of it, unless I gave it to somebody I knew would appreciate it, is because he did something as a fan to make himself even. He didn't want to take advantage of anyone.
He's such a good
so
guy.
I paid him that and the difference of cash that he paid, and that's how I got my Amazing Spider-Man #1 signed by Stan Lee, which is not only the biggest score that I made, but it's the biggest book that I have.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, yeah, that was awesome, and that's now 19 or 20 books away from the full run.
So which ones are you missing? Like what's your lowest that you're missing? I guess.
2.
And
So
highest?
maybe 44.
Okay.
So I'm missing about 19 or 20 between 2 and 44. So I have 3. I have 5. That was the Doctor Doom one.
Yeah.
A couple here and there. Like I don't have. I think like 6, 7, 8. I might be missing. 9, 10. I definitely don't have 9, 10. A lot of the big first villain appearances. I'm missing, like the early teens. I have I have a Mysterio. I just got a Craven. So I have some of the guys. A lot of like the Lizard. I need a Lizard. I need a Vulture. I need a Sandman, Electro.
Mm-hmm. Matt, you just recently got these, right?
What's that?
Matt, you just recently got all these, right?
All right. So before yesterday. Or Wednesday or whenever that was, I was missing I'm still pretty far away. I was missing 120 issues. But I had, my earliest was number 4, and I had numbers 13 through 20, and then scattered up. All copies I was happy with, but what are you laughing?
Nothing, man.
So I think you're supposed to be laughing at my face right now.
I came into a little collection. From a good friend of mine who I've known for years, and who I've known about these books for years, and I've been hoping that I would be able to get my hands on them one day, and I finally did. And it is Amazing Spider-Man's numbers 1 through 41. Wow. Straight.
All right, let's move on to another topic.
It's crazy. It's easily the best. The most I've ever spent on comic books, and the best score I've ever had.
I mean, it really is awesome. As jealous as I am, that's pretty awesome.
Hey, you'll get some of my doubles, don't worry.
Yeah, no, I will. To get a score like that would literally make me I think I'd be missing 1 or 2 books.
It's crazy.
So, and
it wouldn't even be keys that you'd be missing.
What's that?
They wouldn't even be keys.
Oh no, yeah. It's the next show I would go to, I would just buy those.
It's crazy. I'm pretty far away, and I honestly didn't think I'd ever or at least anytime soon, get even close, because so many of those books from 1 to 20 are so hard to get in a decent grade.
Yeah.
And granted, the number one's not I didn't really want a 4.0 number 1. This is a 1.8, but it presents pretty well. So. And for the price I got it for, I'm very happy with it.
Listen, it's a book that you'll upgrade later in life.
Exactly.
You own it right now, so
exactly.
There's people who don't have number 2. There's people that don't have number 2. You know. Mm-hmm. Tess.
He also doesn't have number 2, so he's not giving that book up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's mine.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll just take whichever ones I want. It's fine.
No, yeah, but it feels like it feels insane to. Fill those holes.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of it too is kind of the thrill of the hunt. Also, it's I feel like once I would actually complete this run, it's just all right, well, what am I gonna get now? And a lot of my problem is as you can see from just looking behind me, I really spread myself thin because it's not just
you collect everything.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I've dived into this thing. It's not just comics; it's art. It's not just art; it's statues. I've started to slowly get into a couple toy figures now. It's just it's really a I don't know.
So you both are in very unique positions right now because Tess, you've got the books you need. They're hard to get. They're tough. You're going to go to shows, and these things are going to be a couple $1,000 books. You're not going to be able to get them as a group. You may not even be able to get one of them, in a year. Where Matt, now he's got all the big major books, but now you need all the little fillers, right?
I'm missing, and granted, I'm also only collecting up to number 300.
But now at this point, you've got the big books. Why not?
I have 194 out of the 300, but all the ones I'm missing are filler. I have all the major keys, I think.
Very interesting, the dynamics here, because one's got pretty much the big books and the other one doesn't yet. So, Matt, you should collect the whole run and see which one finishes first.
Because I'm not going to go. I don't go on eBay really for this stuff. I like to find them. Mm-hmm. Whether that be a collection that I come into or finding them at a show or a shop.
Yeah.
I don't want to go find filler issues on eBay just to finish it faster. That's not fun. to me.
My Amazing Spider-Man is still better.
You're what?
My Amazing Spider-Man 1's still better.
Yeah, I'm very jealous of that. But my 2 is pretty nice.
That's all right.
So I'm not doing a Spider-Man run. I just, I'm watching these guys go at it with the Spider-Man run. I kind of made the decision to, because I'm a big Aquaman fan, to do the full run of Aquaman, even though it's only 63 issues for the.
There's some big books in there, though.
There are some big. There's 4 major books. I've got 2 of them so far. But what I plan on doing is I'm just going to do the whole run, like all volumes, because there's not a lot. I've already have. I mean, what is the New 52? I have the complete run.
They're affordable too.
They are. The newest one, what is it? The new run they've got. I've got
Rebirth.
The Rebirth. I've probably got half of them. I stopped collecting them. I just read them digitally, but they're not that expensive. But Volume 1, I just started doing my run of Volume 1. It kind of started with my wife picked up Aquaman #1 for me as a anniversary gift, which is a pretty big book.
Which we knew about.
Which you knew about. And it's graded. It's an awesome grade. I mean, I think it was an 8.0.
Yeah.
It's a great looking book. So it's I guess that's my starting point. I already had I've got a pretty okay copy of the first Black Manta, but that's a book that I'm going to be upgrading. But the other 2 books is the first Mara, and then the last big book is the Wedding book, which is Aquaman 18.
Well, don't you also need Ocean Master?
I have Ocean Master. Yeah, I have that one too.
You do have Ocean Master?
I do have Ocean Master.
All right.
It's not.
I thought you said you didn't have that one.
It's not a decent copy. Really bad. Really, really bad.
Yeah, I feel like those. I think surprisingly, Mara. I don't know why. I think I've seen Mara stay pretty affordable, but Ocean Master and Black Mana, those are really shot up.
Big books, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'm working on the full runs of the full total runs of those.
You should do a more difficult one too.
Well, I honestly, I almost kind of envy him because he's getting he has a character who's a favorite of his, but it's also not a huge Volume 1 run. So it's actually easily attainable. I feel like I have so much anxiety, and granted, I again throw money into all different places in the collecting world. So it's just well, I probably could have just bought this instead of these 5 things.
I think that all the time.
Well, to be honest, I'm also working on other, Aquaman.
You should do Star Wars.
Aquaman titles, there is his first appearance in Silver Age, which is, that weird Action Comics book, I think it is. Where he's wearing a green suit and he's flying in.
Right, so you're looking for stuff too that's not necessarily part of that run.
I think I want to get everything that he's in, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I did pick up at this last show at Terrificon. I did pick up the first Dolphin, which turns out to be one of his wives, which is a beautiful book. Yeah, it's a beautiful 7.0. And it was more of kind of that was a buy where it was an impulse because I didn't even it was never on my radar.
They're the best buys.
Somebody pointed it out on the wall.
Yeah, TC pointed it out. But so that that was one of his wives or girlfriends. So I'm in the process. I want to pretty much get any of the big books.
Yeah. Jim, you should do a Star Wars run.
I'm gonna do that also. I've kind of
I think that was the first one we tried to get you to do.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of the big books on that. It's just more of the fillers on those.
I'm also my other 2 runs that I do, which I haven't done in a while because I've been focusing on Spider-Man, but Star Wars, which I'm almost done with. I'm missing 20 books, I think, and Daredevil, which I actually have a lot of. The only key that I'm missing is I think it's number 7 where he first gets the red suit. But I think I have everything else. I honestly have to check. But
wait, what do you mean you have everything else? You have the full run?
Most of it.
Is that another one you're only doing to 100 or something like that?
Whatever Volume 1 is, I don't remember what it goes up to, but it's not super high. And a lot of the higher books are cheap, dollar books.
You have a 1, right?
Yeah, I do.
Huh. Yeah, I don't want to go crazy and just get random. I think I'm going to keep it pretty small. My runs,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously
pick stuff you like,
Yeah, the Aquaman and the Star Wars, the Volume 1 Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So good stuff.
Yeah. What else do you guys collect besides runs when you look for books? Are there any outliers?
Well, like I just said, I just picked up this Dolphin book, so that was kind of like not on my radar.
So specific to kind of Aquaman still, though, right?
Yeah, kind of. It may not be part of his runs, but outside that scope, I'm kind of looking at.
Because like outside of the main run that I do, like I have a House of Secrets 92, which is first Swamp Thing. I have the Batman 181, which is first Poison Ivy. So like there's certain random other stuff that I collect that I don't involve in a run at all, but I just still like to have.
Yeah,
No, guys.
So JJ here. So yeah, I mean, I've been before I started this whole run of the Aquaman. I was collecting a lot of Golden Age books, so I've got a lot of 1940s and 1950s comics. A lot of some action comics and some Supermans from back in the 40s, and a couple of Batmans actually I have from the 40s. So yeah, I anything in the Golden Age, I love that era, especially with the coloring. I'm drawn. It's very strange. I'm drawn to the yellow from back then. Any cover with that strong, deep yellow coloring, I don't know what it is about that.
So you probably love those early Superman books.
I do. I love them.
Yeah.
One of my favorites I fell in love with, and thank God I got one with that. It's bright, but it's a Submariner book. I can't remember I think it was 34, Submariner 34, when it was under Atlas before Marvel took him over. But it's it's a great cover. It's him diving into the water. They call it a bondage cover because there's a chick in the background who's tied up. But there's I think it's a German submarine that he's kind of going through. But the whole cover, I'm going to say 85% of the cover, it's yellow, but it's I've seen this book a couple times. When I
What
say
number
couple,
is it?
I think it's Submariner 34 under Atlas. I've only seen I think I've only seen 3 or 4 copies of this ever. And I've seen one where it was just so bright, like the yellow was bright.
Yeah, this is really beautiful.
And it's I think it was even graded at a high 9.
Yeah, the girl's hanging on like a glacier or something.
A glacier, yeah. And then I've seen some where the yellow has pretty much disappeared. And thankfully, one day I think I was messing around on Metropolis's website, and they had one. And one day it just ended up in the mail to me from my wife. And the yellow is so just fantastic, and I think that's what I'm drawn to. It's kind of weird.
That's interesting.
It's the coloring. I love the coloring of the books back then.
Was it called Submariner or Namor at the time?
Submariner.
Submariner Comics.
Yep.
Interesting.
I don't see it.
It's such a great cover. I love it. I've always wanted it. I'm not a big Submariner fan. It's just the only reason I wanted that book was because of the freaking yellow.
Yeah, there's random books that like, I'm not the biggest fan. I love like Action Comics 61 is a book that's been on my list for years and I still haven't found yet.
Which one's that?
That's the one where Superman's like, it's got that yellow in it too.
Yeah.
That Golden Age yellow.
I love the book you have. I think it's an Action Comics, but it's the Red Cross version with the big red cross on it.
That's a Superman book. Yeah.
Superman. I love, and it's only because the coloring on that book is fantastic.
Yeah. So this one, Action Comics 61, he's shooting down and covering this nuclear blast that's about to go off, and you see like the yellow fire and everything, and it's just so nice. Bless you.
Thank you.
Like I don't really collect anything Superman, but I want this book so bad.
What was that number again?
Action Comics 61.
61.
I don't have any Golden Age books.
None? Really, none.
Not a single one.
Wow.
I'd like to get some, but
I have one, just that Red Cross book.
Oh, I have probably about 20 or 30.
That's crazy. That's
really
awesome.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So what about you, TC? Any outlier stuff that you like?
I think there's a lot of first appearances. I'm big on the cover art too. There's a lot of the way a cover looks just kind of talks, it speaks to me. And it's not always like the biggest ones either. Like recent pickups I had were like the first Red Hulk. Like I love that cover. First Beta Ray Bill, a character who just looks so cool. And like a lot of those more recent stuff, I'll go out and I'll get the 9.8 on those. Like War Machine, like the first appearance of War Machine is just such a cool cover. I wound up getting that after the that recent Punisher book they did, where they had him in like the War Machine suit, but like kind of the same pose as the first appearance. So just stuff like that. I mean, the one of the two books that's like hanging in my office is the Jim Lee Superman Batman covers, where they're kind of each standing on like respective gargoyles, and like I have it set up so they're kind of like staring at each other. And I mean, I do like first appearances, and there's stuff like that I like. Like Jim Lee, J. Scott Campbell, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, those are cool. I like those covers. I remember when you got those covers, those Jim Lee covers. Those are really
yeah,
cool.
and I've been looking for those for a while. I don't know. I think Jim knows this, but one night we were on Heritage because the Superman one, and just give me 1 second, I'll tell you the exact number. But
I think I remember this.
that was an interesting night.
Yeah, it's Superman 2. It's Superman 204. So they had a 10-0, a gem mint of that going on, and I was like, all right, well, I was thinking about it, I was like, it's a $50 book. It's like a $98, $50, $60 book at the time, at least. I was like, I'm willing to go up to like $750 on it. Flew past $750. I think I was still bidding on it when it was like $100, and I was like,
when it was
when it was at $1,500.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then it hit $1,750, and I was like, I can't do it. I think it wound up going for like $2,500.
You and I were texting during the whole thing. It was just,
Yeah,
it just
I
kept
was
going
just
up
like,
and
what
up
the
and
hell?
up.
And I thought I was like $750. I'm golden. It's gonna be mine. I was just like, nope.
I stopped bidding at 500.
Yeah.
Oh, you were bidding on it too?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And I think it was over.
Yeah. It was just way too high.
It went quick too.
But I have one of those, and I have like the sketch cover next to it. Now I get some of the blank covers. I get some of those encapsulated. I'm not even a huge Harley Quinn fan, but like I have these awesome Harley Quinn covers. Like I have her first appearance in the Batman Adventures, her first series, and her first continuity appearance. And I was lucky enough to get an Amanda Connor sketch cover like back when I first got into comic books. And I had like those hanging up. And I was like, I like Harley Quinn. I love her, but it's just like they just look good together.
That's cool.
Nice. So one thing I really love are those horror books from the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, I've seen you pick a couple of those up.
I actually don't have any, but I look at them at every show that I go to, and I want to get them.
I think you said you had a few.
No, I don't have any. I've almost bought them so many times, but I haven't started yet.
I'm very
because I don't want to
surprised.
start because it's almost like a run. Because there's a couple series. There's like Tales from the Crypt and Adventure into Fear, and all that, and they all only have like 22 books each, so they're not big runs at all. So I'd like to do a bunch of them if I can, but I'm trying to save it until after Spider-Man. I think that's what I'm going to do afterwards.
Yeah, I think my goal is to kind of get more of the older stuff. I want to let go of like kind of more modern stuff, and not just the modern, but the stuff that necessarily isn't like stuff that I want to collect long term, and just kind of keep it to Spidey and like Superman, and then the real first appearances that I really like.
Yeah.
Like I can't unless it goes for crazy money. Like I don't plan on letting go of the Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah.
I mean, the Red Hulk book, I like it, but like if that starts going for crazy money, that would probably be something I let go. But I mean, a lot of it is like there's some I do both like personal collection ones and speculation. So like I just got I've been looking for Booster Gold 1 for a while, and I got it from a guy that I've talked to a couple times from Philly. And he wound up getting like 2 9/8. He's like, well, I only wanted one, so I was like, the second one went for sale. I was just like, yeah, I'll take it. So yeah, I don't know.
Nice. I think I'm also going to do Thor next.
Yeah, you picked up a few at Terrificon, right?
I picked up one at Terrificon. I almost picked up 3, but I stopped myself.
And those covers are fantastic looking.
Dude, they're Jack Kirby.
I mean, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
Especially the ones you picked up.
Those were perfect for his style, I think. Like stuff like that, like him. Like when I think of Jack Kirby personally, I feel like I see Thor, I see the Thing. Like I feel like his Thing and like Thor are kind of like his iconic looks. I know he's done like a lot of other stuff too, but I feel like he had like kind of a blockiness to his art where it just really works for like kind of those characters.
Oh yeah, it completely does.
They really like popped.
Yeah, so like when I do Thor, like I'm probably not going to do the entire series. Like I'll do the Jack Kirby run, and that'll be my run. Yeah, I kind of like to pick those smaller runs to do because they seem more doable, and I could get nicer copies of each book too.
Right.
You know.
Right. That's true. I mean, that's the thing too. I think, even when Spider-Man's done, I don't know if it'll necessarily be done because I might just start, upgrading from there.
I'm absolutely gonna upgrade.
Yeah.
Like in that run I bought, like there's certain books that I was missing that are there that are in horrible condition.
Yeah.
That I want nicer copies of, but I have them for now. So,
So I think one of the things we didn't touch upon, are there any books that we regret not buying?
Many. So from this same guy that I just got this run from a couple years ago when I was in college and didn't have money, he was selling his AF-15 and I didn't buy it.
It was a 1.0, right?
No, it was a 2.5.
2.5?
Yep.
Were you selling another one that was like a 1.0 or something like that?
I was helping him sell it because, I should have bought it myself though, but I couldn't at the time.
Yeah, I actually, when you sent us the message about that book, I hit up Polari and asked him if he wanted to go Evsies on it. He goes, I can't. I was like, yeah. It's probably the right choice because I don't think I can either.
I wish I did, but
Honestly, I'll be honest. I don't have like a super strong desire to have it because it's just so much money, and like I know it'll be worth it in the end, but like putting that much money, tying it into it, it's just a lot of money to be like sitting around.
It is
like
so much.
The Spider-Man book is one thing because like I didn't put a lot into it. Like I'm not going to pay the money for the book. Like if I get that book, I'm going to get it like a steal or something.
Exactly.
Like buy a collection and it just happens to be in there kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at this point, and JJ was there with me, it's not a Spider-Man book that I regret buying, but I almost bought a 9.2 Hulk 181. And granted, I don't feel as bad about it because I had the money in hand. We all went to the bank. I came back and I looked at it again and I was just like,
wait, so you went to the bank to get the money to buy it?
Oh yeah.
Oh damn.
So, but I didn't tell the guy I was going to buy it. I asked him how much it was, and I only bought enough as I was going to pay for it because I was going to make him an offer, and if he said no, I think it was still like $500 less than what he wanted.
Was it a good price?
I think at the time he was looking for like 3,500 or 4,000 on it, and I was going to offer like 3.
Yeah.
So I had to call my wife. I was like, listen, I was like, it's Wolverine, and like, there's no way it's going down. And like she'd probably get mad at me if I told her what like a 9.2 is going for right now.
Oh my god!
But it was like it didn't present that well. And I was talking to Kara about it. He goes, "I think you would have had a hard time selling that."
It was a tough book because behind it was such a brown. There was a big, huge brown stain.
Yeah, it's just like the colors were brown. I think it was off white. It was a 9.2 off white.
And it's still got a 9.2. That's crazy.
It was weird. Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, I'm sure that guy eventually sold it, but I mean, I regret it only because I probably could have gotten like a decent amount of money and then bought like a really nice 9.0 of it. So, but that's probably, and at this point, I again, like I don't see myself putting the actual money into that book without finding it in some type of run or something like that.
Right. No, I agree.
Because listen, I love Wolverine, but it's so much money to put in like one book. That's outside of the thing I'm collecting.
Mm-hmm. I had one for 2 years about.
Well, what was yours? A 7.5?
7.5, but it had a I don't think it's a spine roll, but the white from the back cover rolled to the front, and there was like a big white spine on it. So I really didn't love it because of that. So I let it go, but I did pretty well on it.
What about you, JJ? Any buying regrets?
No, because all I have to do is tell my wife.
I have some choice words for you that I won't share on our PG-13 podcast.
No, I mean, listen. Yeah, I'm very particular with the books I buy or want. I don't know if I have any regrets. I don't know. It's a tough question. I don't know.
Yeah. Another big thing you guys we consider when buying these books is not just is it a good price at the time, but where do we see it in a few years?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to predict that stuff. I mean, certain characters it's easy, like Spider-Man and Wolverine, But
it's funny though. I only do that with books I'm thinking about selling. like books that I want, I don't always have that in consideration. To a certain degree, if it's a lot of money, like the Wolverine, absolutely, it was a consideration. I mean, do I check the Amazing Spider-Man 1 price? Signature series Stan Lee often? Yeah, I check pretty frequently to see what it's worth. But
yeah, you want to know what you have.
Yeah, which most of these books, I just want to be clear are in safety deposit.
Do you see yourself ever selling your Spider-Man books?
It's a good question. I think it'd have to be a really good reason. I don't even know what a price would be. Like if someone offered me, it'd have to be a stupid amount. I'll be honest with you. It's not the amount I would take would be more than it's worth. Yeah. So that's probably a no right now. The other books, I feel like anything else would be potentially for sale other than the Spider-Man.
Like anything not part of a run?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. Like I'm not really tied. Like, so, I mean, I've started to buy a few Superman books, a little bit older, just to kind of start. Like, I don't know if I want to do a run of that. Like, I don't know if I want to do Superman or Action. Like, I've just been getting, like, at this point, just nice covers that, older ones. I think mostly Silver Age stuff. Nothing like Golden Age yet.
You should get a Golden Age.
Grab
one and then you'll want to get the rest.
Yeah, I can't.
I'd like to get my hands
I really need to. I've got too much, and I need to get rid of a lot of it, and then I can get the bigger stuff, the bigger, less space consuming stuff.
That's why books are better than statues.
No, statues aren't the problem. It's the modern books.
I got you.
I am trying to scope out an Action Comics 252. I mean, that's been on my list for a long time. Also,
an Action Comics what?
252. It's first Supergirl.
That was so cheap a few years ago.
I know, and it's shot up. And I've held on to a couple. I've held a couple copies in my hands, but I've always put it down.
I sold one for someone when it was
pops out of the rocket.
Yeah. And it's a great looking cover.
I sold one for somebody for really cheap, and I didn't buy it myself because I didn't care about Supergirl.
That's funny.
I have those kinds of regrets, like not picking them up myself and then referring it to other people.
You don't always know what it is, too. I mean, there's some scores that I've gotten, like, you sold that first Deathstroke. I got that book for like $25 or $40. I got it graded. I bought it raw, and it wound up coming back, a 9.8. And I sold for like $500 or $600.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, I mean, there's stuff I bought. Like, I had what was that? It was like a 7.5 giant size X-Men.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I had no idea you had that.
I think you sold me one for me.
Did I do it?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay.
But yeah, like stuff like that where it's just like, I like it, I don't love it. It had like some weird coloring on it. Like I think it was like at the end of a roll. Mm-hmm. So there was like some yellowing in the red, which is weird, but
yeah, that stuff pisses me off. Like small but prominent issues on a book, even if the grade's high.
Yeah, and it's like it seemed that even though it was like a factory thing, it was still in consideration.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. Does that about wrap up our talk on runs and stuff?
I think so. I think we can delve into it at another time again if we think about anything we've missed, which I'm sure we will, because that's what always happens after we have these.
Yeah. We'll be sure to update everybody when Tess gets a bunch of my books.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to move on to what we've been currently reading and watching in the geek world?
Sure.
I think that's a good idea. Who wants to start?
I can start it off. So I've been reading. So what have I been reading? Star Wars, obviously. The new one came out this week. Star Wars is ending. I don't know if you guys knew that or not.
I heard that, yeah.
But, I think that's by the end of the year that's ending, I would think, right? Right, Matt?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They're just filling it off.
Current, so it's not going to go into anything else?
They didn't say that. They just said that it was going to end. So that could mean anything.
Yeah. I feel like this has been one long story, right?
Has it been a long time? No, I don't know if it's been one. Yeah, it goes back and forth. I mean, they're on one planet, and a couple issues later, they're on a different one. It's a great.
Is it
story.
consistently good?
I love it. I love this. I mean, what are they up to now? 71 is the newest one.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, Matt. It gives you the feel of like So I totally believe like it's stuff that happened in between the movies.
Yo, that's what it is. This takes place. This takes place right after the New Hope.
Yeah.
So Death Star is destroyed. Then this is where this picks up.
Yeah. So it's in between. I believe it's before Hoth, right? It doesn't fall into Hoth.
It doesn't fall into Hoth. Yeah. Correct. So I'm a little sad that that's stopping.
They'll do more Star Wars series.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe they won't use those characters at all.
The new one started this week. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is a 5-part miniseries that started this week.
Nice.
Well, haven't they done a few of those Falling Order ones?
Well, I think this is based off the game that's coming out in 2020 because that's Fallen Order. So
okay.
This is a different series.
I might be confusing that with something else. So this isn't the one about Snoke?
Nope. These are
the two Jedi. That's a different one.
The two Jedis are different, totally different. Never heard of them, never seen them before.
Gotcha.
So got those reading, and then this past Labor Day, I just started reading DC, the DC app. They had most of all their books were 88% off. So I bought a ton of graphic novels. I bought Crisis on Infinite Earth, Infinite Crisis, Kingdom Come, DC New Frontier, and Superman Red Sun. So
Dude, let me know when you read New Frontier.
So it was great because they were all $5.99 for all these graphic novels.
Yeah.
So
it's only like New Frontier is huge. It's like 500 something pages.
Yeah. So I'm reading. I just started Infinite Crisis right now.
Nice.
So we'll see how that goes. That's what I'm reading right now. What I'm watching. I just finished the entire first season of Carnival Row, which is on Amazon Prime. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this. It's a strange fairy show. It's Orlando Bloom is in it.
I did hear about this, yeah.
And then the hot chick from she was in that you laughing. She was in that Valiant movie.
The what movie?
What was that movie? It was a strange movie. Crikeys.
She has a weird name.
Yeah, I just found out she plays for the opposite team. I did not know that. She's
all right.
She's hot.
All right, moving. Are you watching anything else?
So, what? I can say that, right? I was trying to be PC about it. It's an interesting show. It's fairies, takes place in like the 1800s. I don't know. It was a decent show. I'm glad I got through the 8 episodes. That was it.
Nice.
I feel like I would have watched it on my own. If my wife wanted to watch it together, I might have watched it.
Yeah, and don't watch it on the train. You can't watch it on the train, Tess. If you want to watch it, don't watch it on the train because there's a lot
of mature audience only. Gotcha.
But it was cool. It was very dark. I like the story. I'm not a big Orlando Bloom fan, but I actually liked him in this.
Nice.
No, I liked him in the stuff he's been in.
Yeah, not everything, but I like this.
The Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, I didn't like him.
Also Lord of the Rings.
That Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Sure.
That was it. Yeah, go for it. Who's next?
All right. Nice.
How about you, Matt?
Not too much. I finished up the God Butcher, the Thor books, which is still one of my favorite ones. It's probably like
that's a pretty good idea for
book club.
For a book club.
Right, it is.
What is God Butcher?
It's the Thor run. So there's a lot of buzz on the Venom books right now. A lot of the Venom god or the Clintar god or whatever, and this Necrosword actually appeared there. The guy was called the God Butcher, right?
Yeah, Gorg.
Gorg, yeah. So he's like killing all these gods and like threatening the.
He's basically trying to kill off every.
You just read it. You tell him what it's about.
Yeah, he's basically trying to kill off every god in existence. And every god that exists, existed, and will exist.
Gore the Golden Gorilla and Gore the Golden Butcher?
Gore the God Butcher.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's where the 3 Thors in the story come from. You have young Thor, like kind of adult Thor, and then old Thor.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really cool. And we should do it for book club.
That's Fantastic Four 171 is his first appearance.
Whose first appearance?
Gore.
No, it's not.
Fantastic Four 171.
Whatever reading's wrong.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, I'm fact checking that.
It's Thor. It's that Thor 6 is considered the first appearance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Thor Down Under #2 or whatever.
2 or 3, yeah.
Maybe you're looking up something.
Okay.
Yeah, so I finished up that. I'm reading some more of those early Journey into Mysteries, the horror stories, which are really cool. What else? Yeah, that's about it right now. Not much.
Are you watching anything?
Downton Abbey.
Are you really?
Yeah, I just started it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
You didn't see the movie?
I spent a lot of my weekend, which I could have been watching stuff that I probably should have watched from last year, from all that CW nonsense. But I didn't. Spent most of my time watching American Pickers, Impractical Jokers, and The Office.
Nice.
Great
Which
picks.
I've probably seen every episode of all of those already.
Well, right after we
Pickers
get
is
it done
awesome.
with this, we should all watch the season 2 of Titans, right?
Yeah, if you guys want to come over.
That came out. That's
Oh, wait,
tonight.
that's today, right?
Tonight, yep.
Oh, damn.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's excited. He's going to watch this afterwards.
Yeah, I definitely am. I totally forgot about that.
Yep.
Nice.
I am actually reading a lot of stuff. So I've mentioned a bunch of times I've been reading X-Men stuff. So one of the things I read, and I finally made it to 1994, by the way, was a book called X-Men Unlimited series. So number 3 has stood out. It's a Sabretooth story. It's kind of a little bit about, I don't know enough about Sabretooth, but I think this is like kind of the first origin you really get on him. Absolutely great read. It was written by Fabian Nicieza, the guy who's a co-creator of Deadpool, and most of the art was by Bill Sienkiewicz, which was awesome. It was just really good stuff. It was highly recommended. Like, just even if you don't want to read the whole series, just read that one issue. It was a really good issue. And then the older stuff that I was reading, still reading all the other X titles. One that just started up was the Gambit 90. It was like, I think it started maybe in 93, late 93, and I've read the first couple of issues. It was interesting. It's another interesting one. You kind of find a little bit about his past too. Like, I don't remember what his first appearance was. I think it was like maybe 1990 or 1991, and this is like 3 years later. You're finally finding out a little bit about about who Gambit is. So I think I've read the first 2 or 3 issues so far, and that's been really good. And then I've been starting the recent Venom run. So the Stegman and Donny Cates Coates run that started in early 18. That's all tying into the God Butcher stuff. So you actually might want to check that out, Matt, because like this guy is actually the one, spoiler alert, who hasn't read it yet. It came out in July at this point. He's the one who created this that Clintar sword. Like,
oh, really?
That Clintar sword is like his and everything. So the Necro sword is his sword. So it's made out of like symbiote.
Oh, damn.
And like one of those books, I think actually Thor 6 is his first appearance, technically, they say. So it's been really cool. And also with that, Immortal Hulk. I've only read the first 2.
I have that on my list.
Number 2 is a big book. It's Dr. Fry, who creates like some gamma serum and like accidentally supposedly kills his son. Again, all spoiler alert stuff. Really good so far, Immortal Hulk. I can see why these have been flying off the shelves. And then another thing that popped up in 94 was this book called Marvels. And so it was written, I don't have who wrote it, unfortunately, but all the art was done, not just the cover, but the interiors by Alex Ross. Like, it's completely painted. And the first issue, and it looks like they touch on different characters, but the first one kind of touches on the invaders. So a lot of it is like the original first Human Torch and, Namor the Submariner. Matt, I know you do the Unlimited stuff too, so I would check it out. It was a long read. It was like 43 pages, but it was pretty good. It was different because it's like from some like photographer's point of view, and it's like, the effect on these. They don't call them superheroes. They call them Marvels. Mm-hmm. It was an interesting read. It was a little outside the box from what I normally read.
Nice.
But yeah, that's kind of most of what I've done. I haven't been reading much DC stuff right now. I do need to catch up, but
You're getting through a lot, though.
yeah, no,
I
I've been
remember you were
reading
in the
more
mall
every
a few
day.
weeks
I've been
ago.
trying to stop myself from like playing wordscapes on my phone instead of
pick up a comic instead.
Since we actually do a comic book podcast, maybe we should read some comics.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and read like one comic a day. That's gonna be my main goal.
Yeah, I honestly try to do at least 3. So
Three's good.
yeah, I try to do 1 going and coming.
That's true. You're on the train.
At least two back and forth on my commute, and then I try to read at least 1 at night. I don't always get through 1. If I can get through 1, I try for a second one. I don't always finish it, but I started some Punisher stuff too. The older Punisher stuff. The original miniseries was really good.
So is this stuff that you just kind of scroll through on Marvel Unlimited and just click what looks interesting, or do you look it up
So
beforehand?
I've had a ton of stuff in my library forever. So the X-Men stuff was stuff that I personally wanted to get through, but other stuff mixed in was a lot of Bojo recommendations. So
Bojo recommendations.
yeah. But that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna try and step it up for next time and read a good amount.
Do you have any announcements?
We already announced we're gonna be going weekly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this
we
is
done.
the first of 4 episodes you're gonna get this month. Oh, actually, it's 5, right?
It's
Yeah,
5 this month.
Technically, it's 5
Yeah.
because the 30th is a Monday as well, right?
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
we'll
that's
see how this
exciting.
goes.
That
We're
will,
very excited.
that will be the book club episode.
Oh, do we want to announce our next book club yet, or hold off?
No, go for it.
What are we doing? I forgot.
So our next book
So-
club, which we're doing at
so
the go ahead,
Going
Tess.
live on the 27th. That's what we said, the 27th,
Yeah,
right?
27th. That is correct.
27th at about the same time, probably 8:30. We will be doing a book club on Planet Hulk.
Nice.
Right,
So if you
right,
haven't
right.
read it yet, just the Planet Hulk series. I think it's a decent amount of books. I think it's Incredible Hulk 92 to 105. Is that what we said?
Yes.
That is it.
Yeah. So you can either read them in single issues, or I'm pretty sure there's a graphic novel. If you have Marvel Unlimited, you can read the whole series there.
Yep.
But I've read it before. I think JJ, have you read it before?
I've never read it. I've only seen the cartoon, the animation. I'm reading it right now.
Yeah. I know. Have you read it, Toy Story?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It's one of. I don't want to say it's one. It's definitely my favorite Hulk book that I've ever read. Although this Immortal Hulk has been really good so far.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm excited to read and discuss that.
Nice. It'll be
Cool,
fun.
cool.
And then we'll have New York Comic Con coming up in the beginning of next month. So that's good.
We'll be doing lots of reports on that.
Very exciting. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more than we normally do at shows.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up an announcement because I know we're fans of him. We like him. But Tucci, his She-Book 300, his homage to Spider-Man 300.
300.
His homage to Amazing Spider-Man 300.
Yes, that's what I just said, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
It sounded like you said homage. I'm sorry.
Sorry. So that his pre-sale went out this week. Started this week. He's done so
Did
well
well,
on the pre-sale, doing fantastic. Last text I got from him is he's got about 100 left for pre-sale because he wants to save some for New York Comic Con.
Yeah.
He was afraid he was going to sell them all out on the website, so he's going to hold some back. But he's got about 100 left. His thing's getting. I've seen a lot of posts from a lot of different companies on Facebook on it. It's been advertised a lot. So if you haven't
Nice.
checked it out, go on his website, billytucci.com.
Good for him.
/store.
Yeah,
Check
it's
it out.
it's a nice cover.
It's a beautiful cover.
I want one.
He was I hopped on his crowdfunding live stream yesterday. I think he was saying, is it on old newspaper stock as well?
It's the original. It's the same stock as the Spider-Man 300.
Oh, I definitely want that then.
What is that
Love
called?
I don't remember what it's called.
Matt, do you know the type of paper
No.
that's the one thing that we could have gotten from Boja, if nothing else.
He would totally know.
But it's
Yeah,
on. It's
it's
the
like
same.
that. It's that
the-
old like news paper stock.
Yeah.
I don't know what the technical term is for it, but
Yep.
that's cool. I heard him because I think I caught him like in the middle of saying something like that, and I thought that's what he said.
Yep. no,
That's pretty awesome.
exactly what it is. So yeah,
Very-
check it out. It's very exciting.
Nice.
I can't think of anything else right now, but I'm sure we'll put it on social medias if we come across anything else.
Yeah, we are also.
I'll put it out there real quick. Our one of our buddies who works at Royal, and he also does some Universal Monsters, and he's affiliated with that program. He's launching a podcast on Saturday mornings. It's like a Superman Saturday morning like kind of podcast, which is cool.
Is he just talking about Superman or everything?
I think it's just Superman. It seems like it's Superman. So,
that's really cool.
I mean, I'm definitely gonna check it out. Which would be 2 days ago on Saturday. So yeah, we'll let more on it as we get it.
Yeah, we'll send out some links on social media and stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
So yeah, there's
All right.
that. So anybody else got anything?
Nope.
I was just gonna say, so we're trying to up our Twitter presence lately, so everybody should go follow us on Twitter.
I was just
Follow us and engage. You know, it's social media is becoming really annoying, especially Instagram with like, you know, JJ found, you know, people complaining on Facebook about how their algorithm and how the shadow blocking. It really helps if you guys kind of interact with us there. I mean, if you see something like, oh, that's cool, just quickly like it or comment. It'll actually really help us, and you know, we'll be able to reach more people, and that'll, you know, bring more content down the line.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
We appreciate the help there.
Yep. All right, is that about does it for tonight?
Yeah, I think so. Until next time, remember.
Don't be the geeks!